You're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, and you don't have a motivation problem. What you're experiencing has a clinical name. It's called functional freeze. And once you understand what it actually is, you stop fighting yourself and you start working around it. Here is what functional freeze looks like. You get home, you sit down, you open the laptop, and then nothing. Not a rest, not a decision, just frozen. You switch tabs, you scroll, you feel guilty. You switch tabs again, you scroll, an hour passes. And the whole time, a part of your brain is screaming, why are you not doing anything? That's not laziness. Lazy people don't feel that. That is your system in a freeze mode. And there is a specific reason it happens. Your brain has an executive function center. Think of it as your system's task initiator. It handles one specific job, translating intention into action. I need to start working. It fires, you start. But it runs on a limited daily capacity. By the time you get home from a full day of work, that capacity is nearly depleted. And here's the part nobody tells you. When your executive function detects a task that requires high initiation cost, and you have insufficient capacity left to pay that cost, it doesn't just slow down, it freezes. Not laziness, not weakness, a protection protocol. Your brain is preventing you from attempting something that it calculates you cannot complete. That's why you open the laptop and stare. That's why you switch tabs. That's why the scroll feels compulsive. Your system is in standby mode, and willpower cannot override a system in standby. You have been trying to brute force your way out of a hardware protection response. That is why it never works. The problem isn't you. The problem is the cost calculation. If you cannot reduce the perceived cost of starting below your available capacity, the freeze breaks every time. That's exactly what the next three parts do. Part 1, the initiation trigger. Your brain is freezing because the task feels too large for your available capacity. So you don't ask it to do the task. You ask it to do the smallest possible version of starting. Not writing the script, just open the document. Not work on the project, just move the file to the desktop. Not starting the workout, just putting on the shoes. The initiation trigger is so small your brain cannot calculate it as a threat. No threat calculations, no freeze, and you start. Part 2, the capacity check. Before you sit down to work, run a 10-second honest battery check. Not am I tired? That's binary. Specific. Where am I on the charge curve right now? 70% to 100% is full self-OS available. 70% to 100% is the full self-OS available. Hard tasks. 40% to 70% is partial capacity, medium task. And 20 to 40% is low power mode, small tasks only. Below 20% is maintenance mode only. The freeze happens when you ignore this check and you try to run a full self-OS at a 15% battery. Match the task to the actual charge level. Not the charge level you wish you had. Part 3, the momentum anchor. Functional freeze is sustained by stillness. One physical movement breaks it. Stand up, change rooms, make the drink, open the window. Let's recap. 3 parts. The initiation trigger. Make the first action smaller than your brain can refuse. The capacity check. Match the task to your actual charge level. The momentum anchor. One physical movement breaks the freeze every time. The reason you've been calling this laziness for years is that nobody gave you the real name for it. Now you have it. Functional freeze is a protection protocol. Not a character flaw, not a discipline failure, a hardware response with an engineering workaround. I put together a free executor kit in the description below. Subscribe if this is your channel. I post 3 videos a week for people who are smart enough to know what to do and can't make themselves do it. Next video, I'm going to give you the full cold start protocol. The exact sequence I used to get from freeze to working in under 4 minutes, even on the nights when the battery is at 2%. See you there.